And it is yet another exciting moment on the hot seat with me, Bitami Elisha on ATU TV. And today I am bringing you a very exciting topic, that is accountability and transparency in student governance. And joining me in discussion is Mr. Zamani and Mr. Yao. Okay, Honorable men, you are welcome to the house.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
I
much.
must say I am delighted to have Mr. Zamani and Mr. Ake here. Zamani has been a regular guest on my show, and Mr. Ake this is actually your second appearance on the show, and I must express my appreciation for making yourself available for this discussion. You're welcome again.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Uh, I would like to start with you, Mr. Zamani. You have been on campus for at least 4 years now. You have seen transition of power from one administration to the other. In the scope of transparency, how will you describe transparent the governance system in ATU has been?
All right. Thank you so much. And then I'm very glad for this opportunity to share my thoughts and then my knowledge for the time being that I've spent in ATU and then following student politics, following governance, following SRC and its dealings. You know, it hasn't been a day of events. It has been progressive. It has been, how do you call it, transitional because transparency, as we say, being open, not hiding anything. And transparency cannot move without integrity. Whoever is in charge or whoever is being the leading front is a person willing to do the good thing when no one is watching. In your dark side, with you and your pen on the paper, are you ready to do the right thing? That is where integrity comes in. So, for the time being, in ATU, following student governance and order, transparency has been key. Students do demand that certain things being open. SRC sometimes do what? Block that because of some reason this thing is not meant for the public. All those instances has been there, but for some time now, at least we've been able to grow from that narrative to a new world that now everyone has the right to inquire for any information that he or she needs, because we feel like whatever the SRC do or whatever happens within the student governance is being documented. And as a matter of fact, public office, there is nothing secret in holding a public office. Everything within the public fraternity is open, and transparency, as we all see, is the hallmark of every public office holder. So I think for the past years, it has been progressive, though it hasn't been easy. Yes, I think as time goes on, we'll pinpoint on some incidents that happened that matters of transparency and then matters of
Okay,
accountability came in and then all that. Yeah.
okay, that is very interesting to know. I would like to come to you, Mr. Ake, and I would like you to speak on accountability. How do students, or what's the best way to hold students accountable, or to hold our student leaders accountable after putting them in power? Because I've seen instances that after voting for them, most of the students on campus turn out to be more relaxed, a bit relaxed. They don't care what they do up there. And how do we handle this case of accountability in our governance?
Okay, so thank you very much for that question. As you rightly said, for some time now, I've been on campus and I've experienced several student leaders leading or fronting the SRC of Accra Technical University. I think previous student leaders have tried their best, but there's still more improvement to be done. It happens that in our school year, most of our students do not actually have interest in the matters of the SRC.
Politics, yes.
Just unlike other schools where there is that activism, where we mount pressure on our student leaders. The first thing I'd like to talk about is, when you talk about accountability, it comes with auditing, how we come out with people who are supposed to make accountability work. I feel there is a question mark there because an SRC comes in and the SRC president has that power to come out with its appointment on who an auditor should be. Definitely is going to somebody whom he or she wants to. So from that onset itself, I feel unlike other schools where we see the auditor position coming out for people to vie for added to the SRC position where they are voted for, here it is an appointment.
But they
So
have the internal and an external auditor.
good. So I'm talking about the internal auditor who actually work on it first before it goes to the external, which is management.
Okay.
So here lies the case that the internal auditor is an appointee of the SRC.
SRC.
So I feel it is very wrong at that first point of instance that we should have an internal auditor being an appointee of the SRC. Quite remember one administration I met, which was the Terry's administration, the Let's Build administration. The SRC president appointed the finance officer who lost in the ISRC election. It was two positions, two people contesting for the finance. One won, and the one who lost was appointed the auditor. Unfortunately, the SRC,
I want to get you clear.
an aspirant
who lost the election
the
was
election appointed as the auditor.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I think things couldn't go up between that auditor and the SRC, and we felt a lot of heat on campus, coming out with exposés here and there, the SRC doing this executive doing that, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. So I feel that in as much as I feel we should open that portfolio for election where it will bring about transparency and accountability. It shouldn't also be a position for witch hunting where the person who comes in, when the person doesn't get what he or she wants, is going to witch hunt that particular SRC. So I feel, well, it has been good, right? From meeting Desmond administration to Terry to Che, yes, to this current administration. It has been okay, but there is still more room for improvement. Where students must know everything concerning what is going on at the SRC, coming to their budget, to their finances, quarterly reports. At least students should be aware of it to make it, even though they are trying, but I still feel there is more room for improvement.
To me, I feel there is a bit of reluctancy when it comes to student interest in whatever actually happens in student government.
Good.
So, in your view, how do we tackle that?
Good.
To make sure that we students demand accountability from the government. Let me say
the first point is when you go to other schools, students pay the SRC dues themselves, so they know how much is going to SRC. Yeah, it's part of your school fee, so you do not even know that you are paying SRC dues. But if the student is aware that there's 90 CDs or the 100 CDs is going to SRC, I feel that student will be more concerned and be willing to know what is there. When you go to GIG and the rest, they pay their own SRC dues, so they know how much they are paying to. Yes. But here it is part of your school fees. So the student, some do not even know that there is something called SRC dues. They are giving some 90 CDs to SRC. So I feel from that point itself, no one is concerned because I don't even know that I'm paying anything. But once we make it clear and we keep the student abreast with what is going on there, if students should enjoy what the SRC is doing, it is the SRC that will also make it appealing to them. Open up, give them updates, proper PR, getting to students will feel it, and then activism will start there. When you don't do it right, it shouldn't just be Gauzo and Ake fronting doing activism here and the SRC come out with your budget, SRC do this. But if you have student body coming out to demand for proper accountability and transparency, I feel that the SRC will be willing to help us in that aspect.
Okay, so thank you very much for that, Mr. Zaman. I would like to come to you and ask in regard to accountability.
Okay.
I want to make a scenario looking at the just past administration. I have not seen their auditor's report. I haven't seen anything like that. And it's actually no one has actually come out to ask what happened. Have they been audited? Has there been any report regarding to that? We just feel reluctant. Whatever happened, how much they spent, what was in their budget, what did they really do for us? What were the promises they gave? How best have they delivered? All those things. How do we tackle these issues to make sure that we are able to demand proper accountability in our governance?
All right. Thank you so much. So, with regards to the previous administration and then accountability setting, judging the previous administration, His Excellency Dawson organized a state of the SRC address at the latter part of his administration,
Yes.
where he points out some achievements and then promises that were made and the ones that were met. And you see, in ATU, one thing that I've noticed is that immediately we elect someone to be up there, we don't care about whatever the person do again. We leave the person to himself, and the person choose to do what he or she feels like is good for him,
For them, yes.
for them to do. And I feel like going that way or going that tangent, more or less, you the students, you are doing yourself more harm. Because he being there, before we start the show, I'll just give this adage in the tree, saying that the old chasano, onim say the ojen na eche. But you not having interest, that is when you see that we are all going the wrong path. So with the previous administration, auditing was made. What is a, how do you call it? It's a must thing that is supposed to be done. Every administration must be audited by the internal auditor. With that report, whatever the internal auditor is going to find out, those will be given to the schools, the external auditor, which is the school's auditor, to also verify and then ascertain. But my brother, just as Honorable Ake said, appointing an auditor that you feel is going to do your bit will never do a work that's going to put your name in shame, or will never see a wrong in your administration and boldly point it out. That is not going to happen. So that is where favoritism comes in. You are my brother. You gave me this position. You elevated me. So I'm not going to do what? I'm not going to sit for you to be disgraced.
To drag
Then-
your name to the
good.
mud, yes.
Then I'm going to cushion you. That is what happened in our administration here. If we are to delve more into the SRC happenings and students have interest more, we are going to see so much loopholes. Recently, the how do you call it? His Excellency Dawson budget got leaked on one of the student platform.
Sorry, I think that should be green effect, not
Not
Dawson.
Green Effect. Dawson's administration.
You mean recently?
Yes, recently.
Hey, now me man of
For
them,
the
me, I
whole
didn't see it.
for the whole academic year of Dawson's administration, no student got access to their budgets.
But after they left office,
After they left office, now the budget has been leaked on social media, and inside that budget, I see 200,000 Ghana cedis being budgeted for an LED screen, which is what has been placed at the SRC. 200,000 Ghana cedis being budgeted for that. My brother, when we come to this school, pick the over 24,000 students of ATU and put their needs in a scale of preference. Do you think the LED is going to be on top? To the extent that you want to spend over 2 billion old currency just to make that thing up there.
Ah.
And after, give students who come to apply for Buaunia 300 cedis and 400 cedis to go and pay their fees. This is an effect to the students that are tending not to have interest in the dealing of the
so
SRC.
you are alleging that 200 cities, 200,000 Ghana cedis.
200,000 Ghana cedis. I stand to be corrected though. I
Okay,
stand to be
that's what I'm
corrected.
using the word
Yes.
alleged.
Yes, I stand to be corrected.
That 200,000 Ghana cities was used to do that
Yes.
LED screen we are all
Budgeted
seeing.
for that LED screen in the
Screen,
budget.
budget.
Yes,
Okay, in
was
the budget, that
budgeted
was
for
what
that.
was
Yes, that
stated.
was what was stated there.
So as at now, we don't know how much
The
was spent.
actual price that was spent on
So
that.
you see, that is where I actually have a problem. The dissolution of GA
Yeah.
at that period. I would like us to have a bit of delve into a bit into that. I know there were court issues that they needed to rush things, but then having to dissolve a GA online, and then we don't know your reports. Like I said, everything was kind of secrecy.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned that there is no secrecy in public offices.
Yeah.
And this is a public office. And I will say that from the dissolution of GA and to the handing of virtually everything was done in secrecy.
Yeah.
So how do we moving forward? If the deed has been done, how do we correct that moving forward?
So correcting that, the world is evolving. We are all driving towards the digitalization world where everything we are trying to computerize everything. So having a meeting or having a general assembly via online or something, it's not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, it's a good innovation in our
But then
system.
was the link made
Good.
available
That
for
is where I'm
you get?
coming to.
I'm not condemning
Yeah.
them having it online, but the accessibility of all students to have to get access to the meeting. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So
So that was where I'm coming to. Because if you want to how do you call it, adapt to innovation and then create something, bring something new to the system, you should make sure that is in line with whatever is current that we are working with. So if you have to have a meeting online, as a matter of fact, observers are allowed to come and then witness the meeting. So you should make sure that the link is shared to observers to also observe whatever is going on through on the online procedures, and then be able to also contribute to how do you call it, the meeting that is going on. And as a matter of fact, such thing didn't happen. The meeting was held in secrecy, just as you are saying, between the GA members. It was dissolved, and then a new administration was ushered in as quickly as they could, which I think the word transparency and then accountability in that particular instance
was
was
it there?
never considered. You get me? Was never considered. So
Let me go
basically,
to
yeah.
Mr. Ake. How will you address that issue?
Okay, so right from the dissolution of their GA to the handover and everything. So yes, even though there was a court case that I don't know how what they wanted to do, but at least let's keep the student in the know. Let's open up things to the student. My brother at least said doing it online is a good initiative. The world is evolving, we are entering a digitalized world. But at least make it open, make it accessible to all students. Do not keep the student in dark because you are there for the purpose of the student. So you have to work for the student. So everything should be transparent. Transparent is not only about money, it is about everything. Being open, making things clear to the student body. Let them know what is going on there. Do not keep them in the dark. And our SRC at some point feel sometimes they want to keep students in the dark because sometimes they feel students have no interest in whatever they do. The only thing the student need is do the aquaba or SRC week for them and let them come and dance and then go home. The rest they don't care. If you do a school bag where safe bag where they can keep their bag, they have no
They
interest.
don't look at
They
how much goes
how
into it.
much goes into it. But I tell you, sometimes we know that budget you add some prices because you don't know future currency. But sometimes they are too absurd. When you look at some of the budget that has been leaked and even this current administration, which you don't know if it is the actual budget. But if it is this, it is too much. This is where leaders and politics start from. And we always tend to blame our top people. But even with department and SRC, look at how they are making prices for us. And we can't even watch. I remember Terry's administration, we saw the budget and it seemed they wanted to do a rope where the students will hang. I saw the budget, I was like, wow, these people are doing things. But I think right from the budget, there should be student engagement. Probably come up with student leaders, sit with them. It shouldn't just be 3 people, 4 people doing our budget for us. Sit with them, go back to management. They have been in the school for long. Sit with them and have extensive dialogue on what should be done. Student preference, just like my brother said, there are things that are pressing. Especially my concern has to do with the Boawunia. See, my brother, there are a lot of students who need help. You can't allocate 200,000 or what of Boawunia and then allocate a huge money for week celebration. No,
Which is just like a week you spend
you spend
all
more
sorts
than
of money.
what you give to students, and students will
But
go in for
it actually
Boawunia.
appears as if that is what the student want.
It is they feel you see sometimes you want to um appeal to everybody, make the student enjoy. Yes, it is important that in your budget, majority of the things should benefit over 60% of the students. But consider the majority student. You give somebody 300 CDs for school fees when the actual school fees is 4,000,
You
three
see,
thousand.
I'm not cutting you, but I followed the conversation on our pages. The leaked budget, which is alleged, it is not confirmed if
Yes,
that is the budget they are spending. So we would like to put that across on record that we are not saying that is the budget they are
no,
spending, but it is alleged.
sure.
So that's but in that budget, the Aquaba week, or let me say, is it the Aquaba week, right? They are spending over 200,000 Ghana cedis on that. That is just for a week. And I think people raise concern But the defense another student came to give, which got me thinking, is that he should shut up because does he know how much they pay for an artist to come and perform? And I was like, what is the need for an artist coming to perform if we have pressing needs, we have our washrooms that needs attention, we have a lot of things that that money could be made useful to. People are actually struggling to pay their fees. We have lecture rooms that we need more ventilation, we need fans, we need uh, PA systems. And I just saw in that same budget that 200,000 Ghana cedis is allocated for renovation of our learning center. And I questioned myself, what kind of renovation are they doing there? And in that same budget, I have seen renovation of the SRC complex. I don't know what is actually there, and every administration must do renovation on it. So these are some of the things I want us to start.
My brother, quick one before he comes in. On the same budget you are talking about, you see, sometimes the SRC, I don't know how SRC tend to see the student body. I feel this is the reason why most of the time they hide their budgets from us and they don't want us to see it. That is where the accountability comes in, and then the transparency. You tend to hide things. You are not open because you know when you take this thing out there, people are going to scrutinize this.
Yes, people will talk about it.
Today, if every SRC administration will come and tell us that they are going to service SRC ACs that they are using there, and money budgeted for it is 3,000 Ghana cedis. Remember, I'm a Muslim.
Which is equivalent to buying a new AC.
I'm a Muslim. Jimsa, Amox, we have AC there. The school comes to service it for us free of charge. We only give something out of kind because we find ourselves under an institution and all those things are being covered for. So if the SRC is telling us that servicing their AC, every administration must come to service. So, and then under normal circumstances, you need to service your. I use AC. You need to service your AC every 3 months. So you mean you are going to pay 3,000 cedis every 3 months? Remember that. I just don't want us to drive the communication in trying to scrutinize the budget alone. But let's be in the line of accountability
yes,
and then transparency.
My findings. Yes. I want to speak with them. Then I will know if truly that is the budget. And if possible, I would like to have, or let me say, have a look at what. Besides, it's not even. I demand to have it because constitutionally.
Yes, you have every right. Yes.
So I'll actually go into it and I'll see and I'll make comparison between what is leaked and what they're actually spending on before we can make any further discussions on it. Maybe when that is done, I would like to have you again as we discuss that. But then moving forward, as we wrap up, I would like us to look at it. If I am a student on campus and I see these things happen and I want to demand accountability and transparency, how do I register my displeasure? What are some of the things I can do? The steps I can take to demand that the right thing is being done. Because obviously opening your mouth and talking on platforms alone cannot change anything. After talking, how do I walk the talk? How do I demand accountability? I would like you people, our senior men, to help throw light on that topic for people watching us to know. Obviously, I know people would like to, people might find themselves in a situation they feel like want to address certain issues, but they don't actually know where to start from. How do we educate people on that? Let me start from
Okay,
Mr.
thank you. So first of all, when I actually saw the, let me touch on this quickly. When I saw the budget, I actually moved to the SRC personally to inquire if that is the budget. But I was told that is not the main budget. This was actually one when they came, they took from all the SRC executives and added. So they are now coming to sit to discuss, no problem. But if as a student you want to register your displeasure or get into this, first of all, inquire or write, put in writing. There is right information now. Put into writing and ask for the budget. Go through, sit down. If you have any displeasure, we have the ordinary chamber here on campus, which is the student court. Let me put it that way. Write to them that you have this and this and this that you think it is not right, which you want to meet with the student court. Go there. Yes, we know that one of them is an appointee of the SRC,
Yes.
but we believe that just as in Ghana, the executive appoints the judiciary, here too
Yes.
the same, but they are reasonable people who will sit to listen to
To
you
you, yes.
and then sit to them and discuss what you think is right. The SRC will be called, and then you judge and then you speak your mind to them. If it is still not going through and they can't, they channel it to the appellate, which is the higher one, and then we take it from there. It is time that I believe as students we need to demand for transparency and accountability. We've left the SRC for too long. Students, we are paying dues. My students, we are all paying dues. Level 100, we are paying about 90 or 100 cedis. Continuing students, you're also paying dues. Every year, they take it from your school fees. Please and please do not sit and keep your mouth shut. And students too, sometimes we put too much pressure on the SRC. SRC, I remember last year, Dawson did Aquaba Week and brought some of these little artists. They complained. They
Yes,
complained. We
yes.
want the big ones. We want the big ones. Terry brought in Shatawale. Hey, you are spending our money. You've given 1.11 to Shatawale alone. Students, let us be objective. Let's know what we want. They are pressing needs. We have to, my problem has to do with Baunia. I feel that let's put more of our budget there to support our
The
students.
student, yes.
Bro, our students are suffering with school fees.
Definitely.
So let's help them in that aspect. And students, let's demand for accountability. Thank you.
Mr. Zamani, what would be your last words?
I think my brother has said it all. So the process has been carefully stated. That is the right process that you need to go through to, how do you call it, um, table your displeasure or request for any information that you want. But sometimes these processes tend to delay.
The delay, yeah.
So that is why some students tend to resort to the new media, that is the WhatsApp, the Instagram, the Facebook, which is now even part of government and is seen as an arm of government, which is the fourth estate now, displaying like key role in demanding for accountability and then making sure that transparency is in the public space. So going forward, students have to be very, very, very much interested, and the SRC shouldn't tend to be reluctant and then do what they want because the students don't feel the need to involve themselves or the need to request for certain things. You have been voted there for that reason. And just as I started with, integrity, whatever you are doing today is going to chase you tomorrow. This is not the end. You might want something higher. You will do this today, or you will try to milk this student today without their notice. And you will get someday where you want to elevate yourself, and you have some people that will want to come back to ATU and come and do some checks. And when they come, they see loopholes. That is your end. So, as leaders, let's make our integrity lead us. Let's be transparent. Let's be as open as we can. Be as white as Angel Gabriel.
And let's be as white as Angel Gabriel. And that is all that we have for you today. And we hope that you enjoyed this episode. And to my colleagues out there, I would like to just encourage you that it is our money that is going inside the SRC. It is our money they use in running their programs, and you have to partake and then have your cut of the quota. And you have to demand accountability. Let us not lose interest after voting them into power. Let us hold them accountable to make sure that whatever they promise us, even if they are not able to deliver, or at least you see up to 70% of their promises. And I believe it is something they can do. And that is all we have for you today. And stay tuned as we bring you more updates on whatever that happens on campus. See you same time next week.